Welcome everyone to another ArchiCAD design series. Today we're not going to work on any specific buildings today. I'm going to show you some extra settings in the ArchiCAD workspace. I'm going to start off by showing you how to do the staircase if you use ArchiCAD 20 or earlier versions of 20 and below. So if you use ArchiCAD 20, I'm going to show you how to place your staircase, different types of staircase we have. So just follow me carefully and let's just get into it. So for placing the staircase, you can find the staircase design tool under your slab tool at the left hand side of your design tab. So just go ahead and click on it twice to open up that space. Just click on it twice to open up that space. So we have the complete stairs, as you can see here. There are about 6 of them, the 6 custom staircases that came with the software. There's the L shape, the spiral, you have your straight flights, 2 flight landings, your U-shaped, and then the steel plane stair. Now you can go ahead and just click any of these ones, adjust the setting to suit your needs if you want. Now let's say I want to go with the stair 2 landing, for example. When you click on it, you can come to the settings part. This first part is where you adjust the bottom offset. Usually this is kept at 0 if you want it to start from the base of your story. And then this is the height of the staircase. You could see clearly here that this is 3100. You can decide to make this 3000 depending on the height of the story that you're working with. And then these other ones are the dimensions of the column, the dimensions of the staircase, rather, dimension 1 and the dimension 2. This one means the length from this point, just look at my mouse closely, the length from this part all the way to this part. From this point to this point is the dimension 1, and then from this point to this other point down here is the dimension 2. You get that? So you could just adjust all of these settings to suit your needs, and then when you are done, just click OK, and then you can now place it. So this is what we have as the staircase orientation. You could see it clearly. If you could check this in 3D, this is what you have. This is just a basic staircase. Alternatively, you could go through the settings and change the material types the same way we did for the walls. You could find those in the model attributes tab. Alright, let's go ahead. Let's go on. Let's go back to the staircase again. Go back to the floor plan and then just click twice on the staircase to open it. Now that same idea can be used for all these other settings, the L shape. We have the straight flights and the U-shape and all of that. Now let's say we want to create a custom staircase using parameters that we want to define ourselves. To do that, we're going to come to this bottom part here that says create stair. Just click on it twice to open it, and then this pops up. You could see the different orientations that we have. You can see how they are carefully defined. So depending on what you need and how precise you want your staircase to be, you just choose any of the custom settings, any of the custom profiles, and then just adjust the settings to suit what you need. Now let's just go ahead and work with this one, the straight front with intermediate landing. We're just going to use that for the illustration, and then you click OK, and then this pops up. The first one you could see here clearly is the height of the staircase. You're going to make this the height that you need this building to be, your story to be. Click on that and you're just going to make this, let's say 3100 for the story height. And when you click on it, you're going to come to this point and lock the setting so it doesn't change automatically. Just do that. And then the second one is the width of the staircase area. Let's say we need this to be 1200. Just go ahead and lock it. Now this other part is the full length of the staircase. The full length of the staircase from the starting of the staircase to the end, that's the total run of the staircase. If you have a defined height or a defined space that you want to fix it, you might go ahead and adjust this one accordingly. And then the next part is the landing length. You could set this also if you want. Alright, you could set this also if you want. Now let's fast forward to the flight settings. Now by default you can decide the total number of risers that you want to use. If you say you want to use 10 risers on this part, that's fine. If say you want to use 10 risers on the downside also, that would work. Now notice the fact that if I change this other one will change, because by default the staircase settings are automatically defined using the height of the riser that you want to use and the length of the thread that you want to use. Now if you come to the thread settings on this lower part, you could see this first one, the thread depth, and then the second one is the riser height. So if you want to, normally you should have all of these settings, you should have all of these settings in mind before you start defining your staircase. Alright, now you could say you want a depth of say 300, and once you adjust this depth of 300, notice that this other part, that's the total length, would increase, because by orientation you could see clearly that the thread depth, you understand, it's what determines how long the staircase would be in full length. You could also adjust other settings like the riser height. You could make this, let's say, 150 if you want. That works. Now all of these settings are things that you need to understand about staircase before you get to this point. For example, we note for the fact that 2 multiplied by the riser plus the total run is going to give you 600. That's the minimum step value. It's going to be between 600 and 650. Alright, now these are settings that you need to know, and you need to work with them as you try to define your staircase. You need to make sure that when you multiply 2 times the riser plus the run is going to give you 600, between 600 and 650. So there are some settings that if I put here, the software is not going to allow me to work with it. Let's say I need this one. Let's say I go ahead and just make this, let's say 400. That is not going to work. They're going to tell you that it's out of range because of these custom settings that we've made here, because of these universal settings that is being used in staircase design. All right, good. Now you could go ahead and set all of this, and when you are comfortable with this general geometry settings, you could come to the next part and you can change the orientation. You could see the different types of profile that you want to use. There's a free floating, risers and stairs. You can decide to go with that. So all of these settings are just something you play with to just get to the point where you decide that, okay, this is what I need. There's a railing settings also. You can decide to choose any of the simple frame or the parallel bars, just any of them works. You can see the profile here as you try to change them. Alright, so that's how you just go and place your staircase. So by the time you are done with all of the settings, and you just change them carefully to suit what you need, and when you are done, you can go ahead and click OK, and then you just save your stair as a new stair profile, and then while it's activated, you can just click outside and then you just place it here. Go ahead and check this in 3D. This is what we have. Okay, this is what we have. Now let's go back to the ground floor. So alternatively, you could do this for all the different types of staircase and just have them placed in the space that you need them to be. Alright, good. Now let's do one more settings in ArchiCAD 20 before we move on. That's the railing tool. The railing tool is different for versions of 20 and earlier versions of ArchiCAD 20. So the railing tool can be found under the object tool. If you want to do that, we're going to come to the object tab here. We click on it twice, and then the object opens up. So you're just going to go ahead and search rail on the top part of the search bar, and you can see the different rail types that would come up. You just choose the one you need. Let's say we want to go with this one, for example. When you click on this one, we have our settings also. The offset to bottom story, you can check that to 0 depending on the height that you want to put it. And then on this part is where we have the geometry of the staircase, where we can adjust the height of the railing. Let's say we need 800 at that point. And we have the distance from the slab. That's the first stair, the post overhang from the slab. You can adjust it here if you want. There are other settings like the profile of the post, and then the profile of the handrails and the bars. You could decide to change that, adjust diameters as you want. All of these settings are just things you play around with to just get the exact, something that really suits what you want to do with the software. So you could go ahead and see all of these other settings, and then this part is where you change the 3D surfaces, 3D representation and surfaces. This is where you change the material of the stair. You can see clearly this first one is the handrail, so you can click on it and choose any one you want. The post, you can choose any other color you want. the bars, you can choose any other color you want. And when you're satisfied with your settings, you can go ahead and click OK and just place it. So this is what we have. Let's check this in 3D. Okay, that's just a simple real settings. This is just a simple real settings. Now let's go back to the ground floor. Now let's say you've placed your rails and then you want to just stretch it to fit into a space. You can go ahead and escape it. Just click on this part. You could come to the edge. That's the middle pink, and then you click on it. You come to this top part. Make sure it's set to move node, and then you can now stretch it for as long as you want. You can now stretch it for as long as you want. And go back to the 3D all to see the stretch profile. Alright, so that's how you place rails and staircase for ArchiCAD 20. I've already showed you how to do this for 21 if you've been following the class.